Welcome to the Intelight tutorial 121. This tutorial will discuss the parameters and preemption inside of MaxTime. There's quite a few parameters, so we'll probably have more than one video, but this is where you want to start at the top, and we will work our way down through all the different programming parameters. To get started, we're going to go into MaxTime, and we're going to go into the controller, down to Preemption Configuration, and click on it. We'll click on it again, and we're in preempt parameters. So when we're in preempt parameters, the first value we want to look at is linking, because it's the very first one. So we're going to program this up, test it, and see how it works. Now, there is a tooltip with linking. There's a tooltip with each of these items, but we'll go through and we'll program it. So we're going to link preempt 2 to preempt 1. So we put a number 1 in under 2, we'll run preempt 2, and when it gets done, it will run preempt 1. That's what linking's all about. Now, we got to have valid preempt times, so I'm going to quickly go in here, and I don't need any min time. I don't need any max times. I'm going to put a minimum green of 5 seconds. And on both of these, I'll put 8 seconds of, or 5 seconds of walk, 8 seconds of ped clear. I just like to have values in there. When I'm doing preempt programming, yeah, you can look at the min service times, but I always like not to have blank fields, especially when I'm testing. I want to know what's going on. So I'm going to put 3-second yellows, 1 second in all reds. I don't want any track time. It would run track, so if I ran preempt 2 and I had track time, it would go to the track interval, go to the dwell interval, and then go to preempt 1. So I fill out this page, I hit apply. And then I'm going to scroll down, and I got to have some phases to go there. I got to have some destination phases, some exit phases. So I'm going to scroll down, and I'm going to make preempt 1 dwell phases to be 2 and 6. And I'm going to make the exit phases 4 and 8. And I'm going to remove all this other preempt stuff, and then go to preempt 2. And I'll do the reverse operation. I'll have my dwell phases to be 4 and 8. And then I will have my exit phases to be 2 and 6. If we don't have exit phases, it just goes to the next phase in sequence. So I hit apply. I got 2 valid preempts programmed. So now we're going to test linking. To do that, we were going to open up the different pages and take a look. So now that we got preempt program, we'll go into advanced I/O and do our inputs. And I set up preempt 1 on preempt pin 9 and preempt 2 on pin 11. Now, I could have used the regular pins, but I wanted them close and easy to find. So I can remap any input to be any other input. So I am going to trigger number 11 to get preempt 2 to work. So I'm going to click here, go to my inputs and outputs, open in a new window. And I'm going to size it to put it down here at the bottom. And drag it down a little bit, and then I'm going to go to my preempt status and open it up. And open it in a new window so I can see what the preempter is doing. Scale that down a little bit. Then I'm going to go up and turn on my phase configuration so that I can see what phases I'm in. So I got my preempt, got my status, I've got my inputs. So I'm going to jump down here to my inputs. And I happen to be in 1 and 5, and I'm going to scroll down, and I'm going to hit pin 11. Find pin 11, hit apply. So that will trigger preempt 2. So I hit apply. You'll notice that my detector's true. I got a little X in there. I've transitioned to 4 and 8. I've skipped 3 and 7. I'm in dwell. The dwell counts down. When it gets to the bottom of dwell, it doesn't go to the exit phases, even though I had a program, I wanted to show you that. It goes directly to preempt 1. So now we're in preempt 1, which is 2 and 6, and it's timing down, and it will hold until either the max timer or until I... The next value we're going to talk about is delay, the second parameter. It's right here. And we're going to put a value in there. So if you put the tool over, it says that it's 0 to 600 seconds. It's in whole seconds. So if we go over to preempt 2 and we put 10 seconds in, what that means is when the detector's true, the delay of service by 10 seconds. So we hit apply. And we'll go to our preempt status screen. And we notice that we're still dwelling in 1 because I didn't uncheck the preempt. But let's go remove it. And we see it going to the exit phases. We can go back to our unit phase status and make sure we're cycling. And then we'll go back to our preempt status. And now we're going to turn preempt 2 back on. So go down here, we'll check pin 11, which is preempt 2, hit apply. And you notice that the X is showed and the call is active. And you could count 1001, 1002, or have a stopwatch or count. But in 10 seconds, it will go to entry. It just did. It went to dwell. We're in those phases, so it popped right in and it would continue on. So that's how delay works. The next value is minimum duration. The minimum duration is the minimum amount of time the preempt will be active. So if I put 15 seconds in, we're going to have a minimum run time of 15 seconds. It will prevent it from exiting regardless of what the preempt input are. The next value is max presence. This is the maximum amount of time that the preempt can be active. So this is a value that you can put in. So if the input is stuck on, like false detection has failed, at a certain amount of time it will time out and go back to normal service. I'm going to simply just put a small value in of 20 seconds to test it. Typically this is a rather large value. So what we're going to do is we're going to open the preempt status and we're going to fire off preempt 1, which is on input 9. So I'll simply click input 9, hit apply. You'll notice that the detector's true. We're in the entry phase. We'll go to dwell. Notice that the max timer is counting down. So we're in the dwell. We're counting down the dwell. And of course, it will extend out until the max timer has expired. So as it goes down to 0, you will notice that we will hit the exit. So even though the preempt input is true, the detector is still on, we've exited out based off of max presence. So that's how it works. We'll just shut this back off, make sure it's off, so the next parameter we can test. The next two values we want to talk about is minimum green and minimum walk. We don't know where the controller is going to be when the preempt comes in. So if we're in a yellow or all red state, we'll go directly to the dwell phases. But if we've been into a phase like 1 second into the green, we don't want to have a 1 second green and have a rear end collision. So we're going to put a safety value in here of minimum green and minimum. The next three parameters we want to talk about is the enter ped clear, the enter yellow, and enter red. Now, if we're in a phase and we have to shut it down, we have to go through our clearance intervals. So a ped clear, a yellow clearance, and an all red. Now, the way this works is that it uses the lesser of the values. So if I got an enter ped clear of 15 seconds and I have 8 seconds of ped clear on 4, it's going to run the 8. And the reverse is true also. So if I had 8 seconds of ped clear, like over here, and I go back to my phase times, and phase 2's got 15 seconds of ped clear, it's going to run the 8. So it runs a shorter value both on the red, yellow, and ped clear. The next section we want to talk about is the track interval. The track green, track yellow, track red. What's this all about? Well, this is the track clearance interval. So we've gone into preempt and we want to run a short interval to get any vehicle off the tracks. So we're going to shut down all the phases. They'll be red except for the phase that's conflicting with the train. And we'll give them like a short 6-second green. If we go there, then we have to clear it. So we have to have a yellow and a red to get back out of there. Now, if it's 0, if we have track green of 0 over here, then the yellow and red are ignored. All three of these values are ignored if the track green is set to 0. So it just falls right through to the exit values. So this is how you clear the track. Dwell green interval is the next one we want to take a look at. And this is a very important parameter. This is the amount of time, the minimum amount of time that we're going to be in the dwell phases. When we go down here, we look at our dwell phases of 2 and 6 on 1. 2 and 6 are going to be guaranteed the amount of time I put in dwell green, which is 10 seconds. So The detector comes in, we go to preempt, we're going to be in tune. People also ask me, what's the difference between the minimum duration and the dwell green value? Well, the difference between these two is minimum duration is the minimum duration of preemption. The green dwell is the minimum amount of green dwell time on the dwell phases. The next three items are the exit values. The exit ped clear, the exit yellow, the exit red. So once the preempt is over with, we need to shut down preempt and go back and run normal traffic. And we just can't jump to another phase, so we have to have a safe value to transition out of preempt. And that's what these three are for. The next value we have is the dwell extension timer. So what we're doing here is we have a value in here to use like a gap out or extension time. If we have a flickering detector, like some infrared type devices may give us a flicker, we want to make sure that the detector's gone away completely before we exit out of preempt. So that's what this is. The last preemption parameter that I'm going to discuss in this window is the max exit green. This is a fantastic new parameter we've just added to max time, and it's really, really cool. So the way this works is you can have an alternate max time on exit. So if you've got a big, long freight train, 5 miles long coming through, and you build up a big queue on the conflicting phases, when you exit out, it gives you an opportunity to go and clear it. So if we look at 4 and 8, our exit phases, we have 20 seconds of max time. And that's all we ever want to give it during normal operation. But during peak periods when the train goes by, we need more max time to clear that queue. Now, if the train goes by in the middle of the night, it just gaps out and moves on. So I can put 60 seconds in here, and when it goes to the exit phases, the new max timer is 60, not 20. So the max exit timer is a really cool feature. It moves traffic more efficiently. It's simple to use. It's just an alternate max timer. It's a pretty cool operation. I'm going to create another preemption video, and that will be on the configuration of how we want the phases, the overlaps, and the PEDs to operate during these different intervals. But this is probably my longest video, but I wanted to get through all the parameters, and none of them are very complex. A couple words of wisdom: when you do preempt, always test it. Certainly preemption is one of those you test 2 or 3 times. Anyway, have fun, and I hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next time. Thanks.